Okay, so Wednesday, December 13th, 2023, Nefio SIG 2. Um, so on the agenda, I put this first item there. Kandan actually requested, he said, well, can you give me a bullet point summary of what's out for R2? I said I could probably create that, but I'm not actually myself sure about all of this. I don't know if we can together give a quick, I don't know, 5, 6 points that you can have an idea for. Um, uh, the rest of the agenda, I think, there's a pretty important one that Wim just added at the end there. I think, Wim, you can move it to the beginning. We need to.
But okay, yeah, we can discuss the priorities, but I think it's always good practice to move it, to add it at the end, and then we can always discuss to bump
Exactly,
it up.
yeah. Just to be polite to the current agenda, right?
Yes.
And also, we need to, I think, finalize a solution for what to do with Porch. If we decide to move it to another repository, then I will do that today, because I think it's kind of critical that we do that as soon as we can to see if we can actually use this new version of Porch for R2, which we're aiming to do. And yeah, the list of experimental repos is not critical, so we can definitely delay that. And the discussion about
this up?
Yeah, well, in my opinion, if you agree. And the discussion about frustrations with our process, it's a very important discussion, but I feel like
I really want to get 5 minutes on that today, please, Tal.
Okay, I'll absolutely. Let's do that.
So this one we should move up.
Yeah.
Is this the order? The order?
Sure. Does this order look correct, everybody? Okay. Let's try to roll with it. So the first bullet point, the first thing I put high because it's just a request from the TSC, a formal request. So let's see. Does anybody want to take a shot of this? I mean, one thing is obviously OAI components. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
OAI, I think we also, and run, right? Wait, OAI for core, right? Wait, so we can say multi-vendor core. Oh, no, multiple vendors in the core, right? So OAI slash v5gc. And then we have run, right, with OAI.
Yeah.
If I may, just to be a little bit particular, rather than using the term vendor, can we use the term provider, since neither Free5gc nor OAI is a vendor? Just to be particular.
Yeah, I just changed.
Sure, although I think multi-vendor has just become a buzzword in itself. But yeah, we could. But yeah, it's to the point. I mean, Nefio was multi-vendor from the very start, so this is not a new feature. But yeah, we do have multiple core implementations now. Yeah.
The other thing that I think we did is multi-vendor. We made our APIs multi-vendor or more open.
Yeah, well, that's not. I would say this is just progress on what we had. But we could say multi-cloud is, we now have support for more clouds other than just Google Cloud in a more official way.
Yeah, for multiple clouds. So we did, I think, GKE, and we did OpenShift, right?
Is OpenShift?
And I think VMware.
Sorry, yeah, there's an OpenStack, I think.
Also,
playbook. Yeah.
I think VMware was done, but we don't have the recipe though, or it's not documented.
Okay, so between.
And I'm not sure the recipe for OpenStack is there as well.
And Alexei, do you think OpenShift? We have agreed that I remember us saying that we will try to get it into R2, but you expressed some doubt that might happen, or do you think it's
no? So the recipe the recipe for OpenShift will be there for R2. Now, whether the Bootstrap component will work for OpenShift is TBD. If we don't merge these patches, just the Bootstrap aspect that won't work. But OpenShift will still be a supported cloud for Nephew. We
Okay,
will
good.
just use more OpenShift or Red Hat specific stuff instead of the Bootstrap. That's all.
Which Bootstrap is this? Because we actually last week we changed both the Bootstrap. So actually, Fiacra changed the Bootstrap controller, and I changed the Bootstrap secret manager, which should now be vendor agnostic. Let's discuss offline, okay, to see whether something is missing. But we did some changes.
Yeah,
last
well,
week.
that's the only thing I need to check. But OpenShift will be in R2 and will be documented. That's something that I'm delivering, so it will be there. I can assess. I can attest this.
Okay, this is going to be a very, one of the bigger parts of the announcement, right? In terms of features. I know it's not a ton of work in terms of for us, but in terms of public relations and showing, this is kind of a big deal to show that Nephew supports OpenShift. Of course, we know the limitations and everything, but yeah.
But that's why it would be great as well to have VMware. I think it would send an even better message. And I believe I believe they were able to achieve this. So I don't know if there is any representative of VMware in the call today, but that would be awesome. Not that I just don't want to make it about OpenShift. It's just that the more cloud provider, the better.
Well, obviously, of course, but I wonder if this is why I think we need to be a little bit careful with the messaging here. I wonder if we should say something like experimental support for multiple clouds to kind of temper expectations, right? Because there's different degrees of support for all of these, right? Obviously, we want all of these to be first class, but we're not quite there yet with everything. I think there's also, I remember somebody contributing something for Amazon as well, but I don't know if it's working. Yes, Rafi.
One thing,
oh, sorry.
Yeah, Rafi, go ahead first. I'll raise my hand.
Okay, my assumption was everything in R2 was still within the context of kind clusters. I mean, whatever you have core, regional, multiple edge. But so when you say OpenShift, are we kind of, I'm assuming this is some other clouds where you're realizing this? My question was like, how are we going to validate this within R2's, the application context, the use case scenario context?
So we are, I think the idea was always, we are not going to validate, so our end-to-end testing will not include them, right? But we will have documentation for the artifacts on how to do it. So that's what I think John and Alexis did for OpenShift and GKE. So you see there's a bunch of documentation and links where you can actually consume it and use it. Is that right?
So probably
Alexis?
this just ends at the kind of workload cluster deployment use case. It doesn't go beyond that, I guess, right?
That is correct, Wim, and that is correct, Ravi. It is the how to deploy, and right now it's how to deploy Nephew on these cloud providers, and then how to create a workload cluster with these cloud providers. I think this is what we did for Google and Red Hat. I think VMware went a step further and actually did deploy the network function. For R2, I'm expecting to also have the recipe on how to deploy all the OAI software on top of OpenShift. So I will go a step beyond for OpenShift. That's what I control. I can't say for the other cloud providers.
So I think a better word, maybe instead of experimental, call it initial support. How's that? Because we are, this is, we don't, eventually we want all of these to be validated also with end-to-end testing, right? That would be the complete kind of first-class citizen support. So we're not quite there yet. So that's why I think maybe initial is the correct word. It's not experimental. I mean, it's not any more or less experimental than the rest of Nephew. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I wanted to point out was that what we do not support yet, I think. I think that's true for the core. I'm not sure whether it's true here. So could you basically set up Nephew with one cluster GKE, one cluster OpenShift, and one cluster Kai?
No, I had that dream with John. We haven't achieved it yet.
Okay. Because it's the same, I think we have here multiple vendors, but I don't think we have them together at the moment
Yeah,
at the same time.
if we have a telco customer coming and demanding that scenario, we can add a use case. I'm not sure how common it is, but yeah. Okay, any other things for the bullet point? Maybe lower down. We can talk about maybe better testing and release. I don't know. That's
But there
probably
has
not.
been there's been bug fixes and stuff like that, right? So there has been like Porch has had a number of changes, I think.
Sure. I think
And
what Condon was looking for, not so much a release notes. He obviously, everybody understand that there's progress and development, but he kind of wanted to know what are the new features that R2 introduces over R1.
and the only other one, I don't know where we are with the topology manager. I'm not sure whether it's
Yeah.
meaningful or not.
I would say this is absolutely experimental. So
Yeah,
maybe
that's
two experimental components, topology and SDK.
Yeah.
Is Steven on the call?
No, I think he
No.
sent a note that he couldn't make it.
Oh, right. You're correct. So, so both of
sorry.
the,
SDK.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, and SDK, I would put in parentheses Helm support. We have the contribution from Samsung, and we have experiments and POCs that we've done regarding operator SDK. So yeah. Should we also add the status aggregator? Well, no, actually we shouldn't add it because ostensibly the status aggregator has been here since R1 as part of the Google seed code, so it's not new. I don't know if I think Steven has done some work to integrate it better with the new modeling, but in the topology controller. But yeah, that's still it's not part of the mainstream usage scenarios of Nefio, but the code is there. Any other big bullet point that people can think of here? Okay, I think this is a good list to give to Condon. Let's maybe move to the next topic in the agenda. So if people saw on Slack, Wim posted a very long and comprehensive list of what we're not testing right now. So I'm confused.
What I see is we are testing R1. Basically, we are testing R1 from the time being. So should I paste it inside or not? Or maybe make a link to the Slack.
Yeah, why not? Why not? No, you can post it. I think it's good to have it in the document.
Or copy the link, right?
We have no limitation of storage space here. Sure, we
No,
can do that as well.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, just have one source of truth.
See the thing. So okay. So here is okay. Is Victor on the call, by the way? Because he knows. Is Victor on the call?
No.
Okay.
He's
So
not
what
here. I'm gonna cover up for him.
He just posted on Slack though.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking. Yeah. So here is okay. What we did, maybe just or what we did in R1, right? So we work with all these packages, right? So the package is actually the thing that references the software. So for example, Nefio controller package, this one, if you go here, right? You see this one is actually, so it has an image here, right? Yeah. So it's still tagged for version 101, right? So we have to bump this up. We have to first use an image to test that it worked, right? And then we have to probably tag it once we are okay, right? But if we don't have a package that basically changes this, then we are not testing with the current operator, with the latest operator that we have in R2. You see?
So I'm actually a little surprised by this. I remember us talking about using a kept function to update the tagging and really the whole image URLs of everything, right? As part of our RAW testing. So I always looked at this and expected these to be overridden. But it sounds like this is
No,
not the
no,
case.
no, we are, yeah, we are, when we test, right? So we take these, right? So typically with the test infra, you take these and you have to use the right tags and stuff like that. You can override, you're right? But if nobody is doing anything anywhere, then we are not, right? That's my point. So for me, so that's why I was looking at the integration type of thing. So for example, if you look to the packages that you see here, right? None of them are actually updated. There is not even a PR, I think, with the latest changes. So you can, of course, locally in your own environment, changes this, right? But if we want to deliver a release, we have to, first of all, update these and tag these and stuff like that. And secondly, in our end-to-end integration test, we have to point to the right elements to be able to put them together. So in other words, if nobody has done anything on this one, we just do the same thing as what we are doing in R1.
So I wonder if we need to move this to SIG release to have this fixed. Because
Yeah, that's why that's why I brought it up in SIG release, that I were going to look at it, right? So I thought I would do it yesterday, but I didn't have the time, so I did it today. So this is my assessment of the situation a little bit.
Yeah, well, thank you for going through this work. Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I was assuming that everything is merged is being tested as part of end-to-end. So it seems like for a long time we haven't actually been testing these.
Just Victor has a comment up there on your thread, Henrik,
Yeah.
or Vim. Sorry, that there's a variable that sets the. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, but you have to point MC, but this is package version, right? So you can, but if there is no tag, you use whatever we have, right? So what we did as part of R1, right? What we did is, okay, we had a new version because we found a bug, right? So then so what John always did is he always tagged the packages with the new version, right? And then we knew that, so then in the end-to-end integration test, we were picking them up, right? Okay, that package is okay, so we are good to go, right? Move on, right? So during that whole process in R1, we basically were tagging the new packages all the time, and then in the end-to-end integration test, we were picking the right tags together to be able to test it then all together. And that was a continuous effort. So that was like, yeah, we were doing that all the time. And I'm not sure, I haven't seen this, maybe I am missing something, but I haven't seen who is doing all of this and taking care of all of that. That's for me what the integration activity was supposed to is supposed to do, right? It's basically pick all of these pieces together and then, because I think, Sagar, just to be clear, you are doing that today manually, I guess, right? So you're doing that in your local environment, correct?
Yeah, what the testing which I did earlier just for the network functions, yes, it was on R1 setup. But now the changes which Victor did, he covered up some things. There are certain things which are not covered. That's what I'm testing as we are talking right now. But that, for example, he took the new version of the Porsche because it was already committed in the Nefio example repository. True, the controller is not the newer one right now. I just checked. So yeah, there are certain things which not be correct, So that's what we are testing right now.
Yeah, so you have to assemble all of these blocks together somehow to be able to assemble a release at the end of the day.
So I think there is no more SIG release meeting before the holiday, right?
Yeah, we might need to have a dedicated, maybe Victor is an important person here, I think, to have this in the discussion. So I was hoping he was going to be here.
Yeah, maybe we can try to arrange. Well, first of all, we can do it on Slack too. We can have a discussion on Slack.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like we really need to solve this soon. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Not in January, but actually this week if we can.
Yeah, we have to tackle this ASAP because otherwise we are not going to have a release even. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it could be that the test will work out fine because people are testing this, locally themselves with the make files and everything. So, but
Yeah.
if, yeah, I mean, there's a chance that we might discover something really broken if we actually enable everything with the latest version. So, yeah, it's important. Okay, nothing we can do right now.
Yeah.
So the next item on the agenda, unless there's anybody want to add something to this, or yeah, nothing more we can say, I think. Okay, so Porch, right? John will not be available, but he told me that if we decide to move Porch to its own repository, rather than the current PR that he's been working on is linked. Well, this is not the PR. This is rather the discussion. But he has a PR open on the Nefio repo to put Porch there as a subdirectory. And I raised the question whether it should be in its own repo. I have a feeling. I mean, we can do a quick poll here if somebody wants to argue for either side. I'm in favor of putting Porch in its own repository.
So what are the options, right? I think we have 3 options probably, right? Is that correct? One is putting in Nefio project, right? That's one, right?
Oh,
I
well,
mean,
Nefio
in
project is the group. Yeah, so it's either
yeah,
Nefio
sorry,
project
Nefio. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Nefio or sub repo, right? And we
like,
can also put it in experimental, I think, right?
oh yeah, I didn't think that we could put it in experimental, but
But I'm not saying I'm not a fan of doing it, but I'm just giving all the options, or try to give all the options.
yeah, well, I would say the options are, Nefio project / Nefio, Nefio project / Porch, or Nefio experimental / Porch,
Yes,
right?
that's probably better.
And we just maybe label them 1, 2, 3 and let people post in the chat.
Um,
And then if we need to discuss it,
well, maybe we can reach a consensus. I wonder if there's I'm in favor of the second. But John, by the way, says he doesn't care, whatever we decide. Is there any strong opinion over any of these?
I would also vote for this one personally, but
I think the third option, it's there, but I don't think it's really appropriate because Porch is included in the release. So
no, I just put it there, but yeah,
Yeah.
just for complete.
yeah, I think number 2 is the best as well. Is the most
Yeah.
logical as well, because there's a clear separation of functionality between Nefio and what Porch does,
I think so. And
it's a different block of code.
Yeah. Okay, we're seeing some votes on chat for 2. Okay, I think the consensus is 2. I really hear no opinion over anything else. So so what I'm going to do is take John's PR and basically translate it into its own repo. And then we'll see about reviewing it and actually merging it. Now, the big challenge with this is not the code. It's, I think, the images, publishing the new Porch images. When we say Porch, we're talking about a set of the controllers, right? For, the code is basically identical. I think John has done some fixes, but, we would have to move all our, actually, I wonder if maybe I'm overcomplicating this. We might not have to change anything because these images will be pushed to the same place. So the URLs, the Docker Hub URLs will be exactly the same. It's just the source will come from somewhere else.
Yeah, there is some, I think if you look to Nefio project, I think we are using some libraries, so we probably have to update those. So what I did today for merging to the API, so if you go to Nefio, right, you probably, yeah, I don't see this. So if you go here in Nefio project, right, you probably might see here, we might use, I think here we are leveraging some libraries, but you see here we have to probably update these, I guess. So if you do
because we're
Porch here,
we're importing
you
source.
see,
You're
yeah.
right.
So this we have to update probably, but it's see, we can keep it as this, or will it stay there? I think, yeah, this is in Git, so
Oh.
that will stay, but so we'll have to move this at some point.
Well, I think I'll have to talk to John about this, but what we can do is actually move the repository, do a redirect in GitHub. So actually these URLs would continue to work, but I think the proper thing to do is to update the URL. So
Yeah, and it's not a lot of work. I mean, I did today for the APIs, right? So I did a similar thing today to align, because what you saw is that this was using this version, this was using that version. So I did something today for the API. So we have to do something the same for Porch. So it's not a big deal. We just have to
you're right.
spend a bit of time on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll do it in stages. First of all, first of all, I'll create the new PR with the new repository. We'll make sure that that builds okay and everything, and then we'll look into actually using it to build our images and importing the Go code here and probably elsewhere. There's probably other places where we import.
Yakra has its own.
Okay. Yeah, and as I said in the SIG release meeting, this could be a breaking change, and because I'm honestly not sure what John really fixed or changed in Porch. And we did know, because Porch is the core to a lot of things, a bug in Porch could really break everything. But I think John was mostly fixing bugs. So I guess all I'm saying here is that when John comes back around January, we're going to need his help to, if there are issues, to help us resolve them. And our plan B is that if we're really stuck, and it seems to be we're going down some rabbit hole and fixing Porch in the last minute, we can just revert to using the existing images of Porch that we've been using until now, that we are using now. Right. So so that's the plan B is to revert. Yeah.
And fallback is to revert, right?
Just a very quick one. I see there's still activity on the Porch project. Like there were releases yesterday of a new Porch version. Is this in theory? So is the code that's up there at the moment a clone from a certain point in time, or is it? What's the?
That is a very good question. Are you sure you saw a release yesterday?
I get GitHub notifications. 1 second.
Mm.
But is it because of kept or because of Porch? Because they are both in the same repo today, right?
Yeah, well, I guess saying it released Porch v0035.
You know what? I'm going to try to reach out to John and get an answer, because I would hate to do a complete PR and have it be.
Yeah, I just saw it. Two came in yesterday. One early yesterday. One. Yeah, so Porch 33 and Porch 35.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, I didn't think of even looking.
I'll just post the latest one on the chat maybe just to see if it's relevant or not. But yeah, as I said, I had a quick run through what's there at the moment, and I guess there's a lot of it's going to be stripped out. I understand that, but is there stuff that's ongoing that may need to come in? I don't know. But yeah.
Okay.
Post it in the chat too.
Yeah, I'll try to find out. Actually, I don't. John is on vacation, but there are other people in the Porch team internally in Google I can talk to and kind of find out what's going on. Okay. Well, we have anything more like last minute about any of these topics? Well, let's finally then get to a topic that we've been kind of rolling for far too long, and it's a very important one. So we have 30 minutes to discuss it. We can just devote the rest of the meeting to it. Liam, I don't know if you.
Yeah, it probably won't take 30 minutes, to be honest. It's just, I guess, I just ask people to say, have a look at the pull requests on the various repos, especially the Netflix one, and if you look there, there's PRs, like there's John's one ranging from that down to say the one that Vim put through earlier today, and it's just that I know that John and yourself, Tal, and Stephen and Vim are the owners, so they have to okay each one, and that you're busy. But I guess if we could ask you just to maybe, if I take 5 minutes in the morning or 5 minutes in the evening, and just wave, not saying wave through, but like there's one there on Mockery that Fish did, and Fikra and myself are working on doing and on converting the unit tests that we already did and to do more unit tests using the Mockery, but we're blocked because of that PR not being brought in, and I think it's sitting there now. It's sitting there for a week. It's actually stopping us, moving on with unit testing.
So the frustration is that the owners are not reactive enough. Right?
Well, that's one of them. Yeah, I guess we probably as well. There's some PRs in there that's there for ages and ages, and it's probably maybe if the people that around them could either bump them or reject, just abandon them. There's another one as well there from there's just Stephen's own one on the in-topology controller doc. I think that one has been ready for merging for a long time. Also, the one there, yeah. Now and then there's another one then from the security guys, which was just a documentation on the security policy, which I thought was a good document and really, if the guys went to the bother of doing it, we should really, push these things along, So I don't know, maybe maybe another thing we could think about at some time in the future is even maybe expanding the owners list a little bit, so that even if some of these ones that aren't PRs that are going to change the architecture and FEO could be put through by other people. So that's really all I wanted to say. It's just to maybe if I could ask people to just do a bit of triage when you come in.
So one thing I would say, I do agree with you that we are, I think, not responsive enough, right, for the owner. So I think it might be worth discussing the expansion of a number of people from my perspective. The second thing that I would say is that if someone has a PR, he should try to push it through. So I know that both you and Fiacra and yourself and even Vision, I do it myself as well. If there is something that needs attention, I call it out on Slack or something like that. Or sometimes I go to individual people and stuff like that to try to get it through. So the ownership is still there, but I do agree that the owners that are today, let's say, listed are probably not responsive enough for the work that is ongoing. And that's including myself, by the way. So I'm pointing to myself.
I don't know what the situation is on the other repos. I'm not. I'm kind of focusing on this and maybe on the test input for a certain amount. And then really what I'm doing is keep an eye on the fire hose. When something pops up there, if it's something that I'll have a quick look at it, and if it's something that can go through, I'll just put a /approve on it. I think if people did that, then it would help, and then it would also help the owners. If it's 3 or 4 /approves, and then the owners can say, "Oh, the community seems happy about this. Let's go ahead with it." But then there's some PR owners as well, that if it's gone stale, just make a decision, take it away, if or push it on.
Yeah, I'll share maybe some of my own experience here. I agree with every single word. I'm very frustrated with the process. I'll just give you an example. For some historical reason, I'm an owner in all the repositories. So I start the day with a complete fire hose of every single pull request comes to me. It makes no sense, right? We're all owners. Everybody here is an owner, right? I think the idea that there are some owners of the repo seems kind of wrong to me. We can talk about contributors versus committers maybe, but there's no reason why myself and John have to be in charge of PRs, right? We need a much better system for review, where it's spread out and delegated between all of us. I think there's no one. The chairs are facilitators, right? We're not owners of the code base. The copyright of the code base is Nefio authors, right? Which includes all of us, anybody who signs the CLA. So I don't have a solution for this right now, but yeah, you know, another aspect for me is that, you know, there are two ways to look at reviews. One is, hey, is everything okay? I'll rubber stamp it, give an LGTM. I can do that. And I have done that, and we do that. We constantly break our own rules here, right? And people just kind of push things through because we need to get it through, and we base it on mutual trust. I trust you that you tested it, and I'll accept it, and we'll move it through. And if there's a problem, we can fix it later, right? None of this goes into production, so the stakes aren't high for too high for merging a PR. But you know, not all PRs are equal. You know, some are involve features and design, and you know, you can't just take the fire hose and drink from it. You know, you need, for these kinds of PRs, I really want context. I want to talk to the person and try to understand what we're trying to achieve here. And maybe I need to run and test it locally to make sure that it really runs for me and not just runs for you on your system. So all of this seems really ad hoc right now. We kind of figure it out. But we don't seem to have a very clear system to do all of this. Fiacre, please, your hand is up. You can join in. Yeah.
Yeah, just very quickly, I'd like my frustration is, yeah, look, it's just the amount of time that it takes to get through, but and it's always going to be the way. But I think I feel happy to review anybody's code. I feel happy to review, and I think we should all try and take the same view. You know, I don't think there's anything. There's no such thing as a stupid question. You know what I mean? Some disagree with that, but you know, if you can review someone's code, all the better. But just on that point, Tal, in terms of so I see are all of the I'm a little bit new to GitHub, but when you push a PR, I see, say, one of Victor's here. So what type of PR is this? Could we annotate a PR with its, what would you know, give it a weighting? So if it's a minor, so say if it's, you know, adding unit testing test coverage to existing code, that's probably low impact, right? Or low risk, you know. But as you said, if it's a feature change, if it's an additional, you know, if it's new functionality, then it needs to be looked at much more closely. Is there a way in GitHub to tag or to annotate PRs in that fashion? I don't know.
Well, we can
Would
maybe
that be
build our
useful?
own.
Would it be useful? Would it be useful? I don't know. You know, just to, you know, just to, you know, if, like I say, if something is minor, non-breaking, you know, it doesn't need a fine-tooth comb. If something is big and chunky and heavy, it does. You know, that's.
Or even if we could have some sort of triage system. I mean, I might
that's
not be
the
an
word I'm
absolute
looking.
expert on it, but I think at this stage I'd be able to say, you know, whether a PR was, you know, a documentation, you know, from documentation up to unit testing to, you know, on the other extreme, like John's, you know, porch one, which is, you know, very fundamental and would require a large degree of oversight.
That's
You know?
yeah, triage. That's a good word. Sorry, that was word. Yeah.
So one thing you can do, of course, always is to indicate it in either the description or in the header, right? For example, look at the PR that we did today. By the way, I just didn't change any code. I just took the latest library. So I indicated it, and yeah, then it goes too fast. But so you can also do that, right? So you can basically indicate in the PR,
Yeah, but
like
there
the
are
mockery I will do. I'm going to do after this meeting thing. But I agree, it takes too long, right? So the mockery is, for example, one of those. Probably the impact is very small, right? So it would, but I typically I just talking for myself. I always look a little bit to the code, but so I don't just do LGTM. I just always look a little bit to the code, and in some cases I even test it.
But I think the difficulty. Sorry, but say in your case, Fim, you seem like and this isn't a slant on Tal or Stephen or John, but it seems to be yourself that needs to pass through. So say in the Nephio repo in particular, they all seem to come to you, which is a bottleneck, you know, unfortunately. So, you know,
but it's not.
you
So
know,
the way the system is set up, Fiacra, is that okay? At least how I understand it is that I think at the moment I don't know that it's 4 owners in the repo. I think, right? So let's have a look.
yeah.
I think at the moment, but so it goes round robin normally. So it picks one of us basically. I picks 2. I think 2 of the ones, and it goes. I see it goes random. I don't know why it's always me, but so for me, this is just a suggestion, right? So what happens is you have a suggestion. So in other words, what get automatically assigned for me is, okay, that's for me the system. What I typically do personally is I think, okay, these people might be interested in reviewing it. So I'll pick my people, right? To have a look. And typically what you see then, if those people already have reviewed it, then approving the PR is becoming way easier or simple because you kind of, so in other words, so what I'm trying to say is that the person that is picked in the assignee is what the system does automatically. I don't know why, if they all come to me, it would be strange, but what I'm trying to say is that don't take the choice for granted, if you will, right? So you can basically pick anyone off the list here to get.
Yeah, no, I just do a scattergun approach and add all 4. So sorry. Yeah, but
no, that's fine. Yeah, that's
So
but I typically
I really
even pick I
go
even
ahead.
pick people not in this list, by the way. So I typically pick people not in this list because I know these people are busy. So I typically pick, like Akash has done some of mine. I think I asked you, Fiacra, for some, or Liam or Fish or something. So there's other people that I try to go through first because I know that these people are busy. Right? That's just my personal thing. Sorry, Tal, I interrupted you.
Yeah, it's okay. As I said before, I keep feeling more strongly about this, that this owner's file is totally irrelevant. You know, the TSC did not give us a charter to the chairs to be gatekeepers for the code. That's not, you know, nobody voted the list of those 4 people to be in charge, right? And yeah, there's a way we can treat that owner's file, as Wim said, just as a list of you know, defaults, and obviously we can change it. But yeah, there's no. I wonder if we even need this. You know, I think we need maybe a different system, a more deliberate system for code review that is more distributed and more appropriate.
Well,
maybe, you know, the right person for a review.
I guess that the problem is that one of the owners has to, one of the 4 of you have
Yes.
to give the final say on each of them. And if you're busy, then it just gets too much for everyone.
So I think we
Yeah,
have,
but
in my view,
this is
we have the distributed system, right? So reviewers, I think everyone can review it. What is the current process is that one of the 4 need to basically say approve at the end. That's basically what's missing. That's what is how it's set up today. And to a certain extent, I mean, for me, we can, but to a certain extent, I think this is not bad because you need to keep some consistency and stuff like that, right? So that's kind of what, in my view, the owner thing is to try to keep that ongoing. But the review and the distribution and everyone in the team can basically review, approve, disagree, whatever we want. So that, I think we have that. But what today the system is basically there to keep a little bit of consistency between the various things.
Yeah, like in our previous project, there was quite a rudimentary setup as well with an info YAML, which was a committer list. So committer was the one that could commit the code essentially, and it had to, that's, you know, I guess the owner's file is the equivalent, but it's quite narrow, you know, in terms of just having 4 people on it. But anyway, that's, you know,
Yeah, but I mean, maybe when we have that system, if you know, if we could just have something that, you know, maybe once a day you could take a quick look at what's there and see if things can be moved on or not.
So the TSC gives us complete freedom to decide what to do here, but we can look at other projects too, right? For example, I'm a committer for the Apache Software Foundation. I had to go through certain loops to become that. But once I became a committer there, I'm allowed to review and approve any pull request anywhere in the Apache Software Foundation for any project. Right. So maybe we could, I'm just thinking out loud here, but we have contributors and we have committers. Maybe we can formalize the idea of committers. And I don't know how we would do that exactly. We can give some sort of criterion. Maybe a number of pull requests you have to do or something like that, a number of lines of code, I'm not sure. But if you reach a certain criterion for becoming a committer, then we add you to the owners list for everything. So now you're a committer, and now it means you can approve anywhere for any project. So instead of a very small cabal of gatekeepers who have not been elected, and I'm not sure why we're there, to make it more a joint process between all of us to decide who gets the honor to gatekeep our code. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. But I don't think it could, to be a committer on, it could be per project, it could be per repo even. It wouldn't have to be across the board,
But that's how it is, I think, right? So in certain projects, it's in certain repos, it's different. But I at least that's what I
Yeah, yeah.
understand. Like if you take
Yeah, I think-
OAI, for
I think
example, I think Sagara and stuff like that are
Saggers, yeah,
there.
the OAI, yeah, because
you
that
see.
they're the original committers of that code. So that's that's correct. But sorry, like say, my focus at the moment is on the Nephew project and the Nephew repo. So
Yeah.
but I wouldn't have any reason to be a committer in the test info repo, say. You know what I mean? Like or an owner. It's just yeah. Sorry.
No, this
But
we're
we
all
can.
brainstorming
Yeah.
here, but I guess I'm less in favor of that kind of fine-grained approach because then you do end up having gatekeepers for, oh, somebody is gatekeeping our API, right? Some of these repos have more impact than others. I kind of feel like that if you're a contributor to Nephio and if you're good enough to fix something in Nephio, you're good enough for all of Nephio. I mean, our repo organization kind of reflects the components, but it touches on everything. This is one project. So that's my initial thought right now, that it shouldn't be, I think, per repo, but I think once you're a committer in Nephio, you are a committer, right? So you are able to review all code. It means that we trust you, right? And of course, if you feel like you can't review a specific piece of code or you need another reviewer, you reach out, right? And again, the stakes for all of this are not super duper high, right? Any kind of PR that's merged, we can always unmerge it. We can always do another PR to fix it. So it's not like somebody who has this kind of magical power here can destroy or do something very big to the project that's outside of consensus, right? Everything is fixable.
Sure.
Liam, you have your hand up as well?
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with that idea of that. If one doesn't feel one is competent, or that's like just taking a professional approach to it, and you can ask somebody else to come in or comment. It might, your comment on the commit might be, well, on prima facie, and as much as my knowledge limits, I think that this looks okay, but I'd recommend that somebody, not give it a slash approved, which maybe a comment that maybe such and such or such and such another person might be a better person to review it.
But sorry, I've lots of thoughts, but like the old 2+1 approach is it works, but it means that you have to have two 2+1s on a review. I know it doesn't really translate to GitHub very well, but say in a Garrett, and I'm coming from Garrett land, but 2+1s equals okay. That's kind of the approach that we used to use.
Right. The question is, who are those 2+1s?
Yeah.
So I feel we have some nice ideas here. Let's think about this a bit more, and I think we also have to coordinate this, of course, with SIG Release, right? Who kind of manage the technicalities of how all this works. For example, it might be possible just to remove the owner's file entirely and maybe manage it in somewhere in GitHub. I'm not actually even sure. Or somewhere else in Prowl, like some sort of central file. let's maybe bounce this off them and see. I mean, for now, we're not going to like change everything today and create a new system. But yeah, I would say let's treat this as a brainstorming that we're doing right now, and maybe continue think about this. Maybe somebody will come up with another idea that we can all agree with, and yeah, we can maybe turn this into an actual proposal, concrete proposal for a SIG release, and see if we can actually do something. Well, we still have time. Any more thoughts on the topic?
Just in the meantime, then, if we could, I know the load on you guys is very high, but if you can persevere in keeping the PRs going through, that'd be great.
Yeah, we'll have to work with the status quo right now. So, my suggestion is nagging. If nobody is looking at your PR, just keep nagging on Slack. Approach somebody directly with a direct message and say, "Hey, please review this." Just for now to get everything through. I can't think of a better solution.
Yeah, that's all it works. I was intending, or I mentioned I might capture this in a discussion on GitHub. I don't know. Is that worthwhile, or for?
I think that would be wonderful, actually, because I'm always in favor of doing that, because not everybody can make every meeting. So that makes it transparent and people can add their 2 cents even if they miss this meeting, right? So that would be wonderful if you could do that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
if I may add,
Yeah.
just
Sure.
I just wanted to get some more eyes on the integration which we are doing, me, Joseph, and Victor, because we have some issues, and of course it's nice if we get some more eyes. So what Victor did is that he created a couple of VMs, let's say 2 or 3 VMs, on which he's testing the whole scripts which he have. And as been pointed out today, that there are certain tags which are not correct, so that we need to check. Then there are certain issues which we are having with networking, because the network is a little bit more complicated than what was there in R1. So it'll be nice to have more eyes on the work which he's doing. So anybody can volunteer and just jump in.
Yeah, or reach out to Slack, right? To us, to reach out to Slack.
Yeah,
Was this discussed somewhere?
Yeah, right now I was only doing with him, I was trying to not ask you all the time so that I can also see. But the thing is, there are certain issues which you cannot solve, so of course I have to ask, So we'll ping you on Slack.
Okay.
All right, I think the last issue on the agenda might take more than 5 minutes, and it's, again, not urgent. We can push it to later. So we'll just keep rolling that ball.
And I
Anything
think
else?
there's one more thing, maybe, Tal, is next week. What do we do? Do we have a formal meeting, or we try to resolve on Slack?
Great minds
I
think alike,
just
Tim.
there's no meeting next week. Yeah, it seems like very hard. I might be on vacation. I might be here. I'm not sure, but
But should we cancel it? But because I think we should cancel it in the agenda, probably, right? Yeah, if we cancel it.
yeah,
but we have
so
to resolve.
We have to go into the tool to remove it. I can do that. I hope I can do that. To manage the calendar, yeah.
Otherwise, I can do it. I think it goes very quickly, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, hi Tal. Actually, I want to know about the status of the pull request for the Nephew SDK.
Yeah, so I will do that. That is on me. I hope to finish it this week. I just have some internal things to do, but I promise you it will be reviewed, right? So it is on course to be integrated into R2. So
sure.
Yeah. Sure. So it's just a little bit of a delay. It's a very big pull request. So but I will absolutely review. Yeah.
I'll do it in a bit. It seems something is stuck. All right. And so next week, the week after as well, right? So the next meeting we'll do is first week of January, or the second week?
I'm in favor of the first week. We can set a meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the 3rd of January is probably good.
Which on the first week of January, so I'll cancel 2 meetings basically.
Yeah, so our next meeting will be January 3rd.
3rd, yeah.
And people should be sober by then, I think.
Maybe.
Well, great. I think we're on course. Thank you, everybody. And since we're only gonna meet formally again on January, Happy New Year, happy holidays. I wish everybody a lot of health, physical health, mental health, peace, and love.
Yeah. Just
Thanks, all.
echo that.
Happy holidays, all.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy
Happy
Yeah.
New Year.
Happy holidays.
Thank you, and bye-bye for now.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.